SB19 is now self-managed. They are their own boss, captains of their own ships, drivers of their own career. Blackpink hasn't renewed their contract with YG, or at the very least, there hasn't been an announcement about it. While many fans want them to renew their contracts, many also are clamoring for the four girls to just manage themselves. Infinite, GOT7, and Shinna are other groups who are known for managing themselves. While it sounds exhilarating to know artists are taking control of their own career, what does it really entail from a business perspective? What challenges are they facing? And how can their fans help? After all, artists taking control of their own career should be encouraged. And if there are other successes, then the future ones who will pursue the same path will learn and might be able to succeed in doing the same.
Hi, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. I would really appreciate it. And of course, share the video if you can. It's really helping my channel. Okay, so this is another question that was sent by you guys. Just want to clarify that Blackpink has not yet, or YG Entertainment has not yet announced any details about the renewal of their contracts. Some fans actually don't want them to renew, and they just want Blackpink to just become a self-managed group. And then there are some fans who actually want them to renew. Infinite, GOT7, and Shinna are self-managed, but they're only managing their group. For their individual activities, they actually have other management companies behind them. So of all the groups that I've mentioned, only SB19 is the real self-managed group as of the moment. Okay, let's continue with the video.
Employee salary. It actually costs the company twice the amount of an employee's salary. An artist won't be able to do everything by themselves. They need help. But maintaining an employee comes at a cost. Twice the cost, to be exact. It costs a company twice the amount of a person's salary to keep the person employed. If they are paying someone, let's say 600 a month or 30,000 pesos, the company actually spends twice that much because of taxes, healthcare, government fees, insurance, and others. Let's just assume they have 3 full-time employees who are getting paid 600 a month each. That means it costs the company 1,200 a month to keep each. For 3 employees, they need to earn 3,600 a month just to keep those 3 employees. That is about 190,000 a month. They need a steady cash flow. And for them to have a steady cash flow, they need to continuously sell things: merch, music, concert tickets, CDs, and others. Now, Spotify pays $1 per 300 to 400 streams. So, for them to make 3,600 a month on Spotify, they need 1.44 million streams monthly. Apple Music pays more. To get $1, they need about half of what Spotify needs. Next, it's not about just art anymore. One of the most taken for granted sacrifices of many business owners, especially small-sized and medium-sized companies, is how hard every little business decision can actually affect their employees, the people that are relying on them to pay their bills. Employees of small companies often develop a closer relationship. Owners get to know the wives or husbands of their employees, children, their problems, hardships, victories. SB19 seems like the type of people who have real compassion. I won't be surprised if they actually treat their employees like families. That being said, there will be hyper awareness that whatever decision they make, win, lose, or draw, will affect not just them, but everyone else in their families and around them. Say no to a project, and that's a missed opportunity not just for them, but for the people relying on them and their families. Fire someone, and they're also firing their families. Yes, the sole reason for them to putting up their own company is so that they can have control over their career, their lives, their music. But having people relying on you shifts the perspective. It's both a blessing and a curse. It's both kind and also a burden, and it's both a privilege and a baggage. Funding, investors, and loans. You need money to make money. Imagine making a candle for a living. For you to distribute your products to more stores, you need the capital to make more candles. You need to make more candles to sell more. That's the same principle in an entertainment company. SB19's tour, for example, they will actually get the payment for the shows weeks, if not months after. But expenses are paid way before the show. They need to pay the venues as soon as they get reserved. They need to book their flights, hotels, arrange their transportation, manufacture their merch, design marketing materials, pay staff, and others before the show. That means they need to front the cost. Further, SB19 and if Blackpink decides to manage themselves, will have to hire people to market them in other countries, produce more songs, albums, and videos. Even before contracts are signed, they need to fly to meet people. There's airfare, hotel, food. They need to pay lawyers to review contracts. And if they do want to develop and manage their own talents, they need money to invest there too. That's why many actually need investors, or they file a loan or seek funding. Investors and funding would actually go in exchange for a stake in the company. Others prefer a loan because they don't give up a portion of their company. Now, can they fund it themselves? Yes. But if things go south, they lose their own money. If it's a loan or an investment company, if things go wrong, they can just declare bankruptcy. Ideas are one thing, execution is another. Ideas are worthless without execution. The great Steve Jobs said that. And Thomas Edison said ideas without execution are hallucinations. When an artist is signed under a management company, they can just communicate their idea and count on the management company to execute. Hire people to make their idea come into fruition. Being self-managed puts the responsibility of the execution squarely on the shoulders of the artist. To put it in perspective, Blackpink's world tour, all Blackpink is thinking about is their performance. They land in a country with a car waiting for them, go straight into their hotel, order food if they want to, go out if they want to, rest if they want to. They show up for sound check and then they get ready for the show. When the show is done, they leave and rest to get ready for the next one. But when SB19 goes on tour, they aren't just preparing for the concert or the sound check. They are the head of all the logistics. They may have people arranging their accommodations, getting the venue ready, making sure they have security permits and other stuff, but they are still the head of all of that. If decisions are to be made, they are the ones who make it. And if there are problems, they will have to be the ones to solve it. And once the tour is over, it will still be up to SB19 to go through the books. They have to make sure taxes are paid, people are paid, do a post-mortem on what they did right and what they did wrong creatively and logistically so that they can improve in the next one. If they want to do another album, it will still be their responsibility to give instructions, decide on who to work with, assess the risk, decide on the promotions, and if there are problems in logistics, it will still be their responsibility to make the calls. Whatever it is that they think of, it is also their responsibility to make it happen. Taxes. They pay taxes in their home country and the country where they worked at. Going back to the money they need to make, if they have 3 employees getting paid 600 a month or 30,000 pesos, if they earn 3,600 a month on Spotify, the government will still have to take their fair share. So they actually need to make more. The more they earn, the more they get taxed. It's the law of the land. Now, if they come to the US to work here, whatever they earn here gets taxed here. So they get taxed here and they get taxed in the Philippines. For example, the capacity of City National Grove, where they had their LA concert, is actually 1,700. Assuming they sold 1,600 because 100 goes to sponsors, special guests, if we assume for easy math that the average ticket price is 100, that means the gross was $160,000. Sounds like a lot in the Philippines, but they have to pay the venue, security, staff, contingency, accommodations, coverage, food, insurance, tax, and even more tax. And in California, they tax you for everything. They tax you for having a kidney. The promoter also gets a cut.
Creative innovation. Creativity is one thing, innovation is another. There are so many groups out there, pop groups, pop stars, that actually release great songs or good songs, but they all sound the same. So there is no progress. You can practically pluck out one melody or lyrics from one song and then put it in another of their songs and will still work. That's how similar their sound is. Their music videos are all beautiful, but they're beautiful in the same kind of way. Their messaging don't innovate, they don't evolve. There really is no progress. So when a group self-manages, it now becomes their headache. It now becomes their problem to innovate and to actually grow. Of course, they can always hire people that will do the thinking for them. But at the end of the day, it has to be their vision. Otherwise, they're still puppets, right? So that in the age where pop stars and groups actually just dazzle people with their twerking or their boss bitch kind of behavior or their great fashion, it's the actual messaging, the actual innovation actually gets buried. But once they are self-managed, then they have nobody else to blame. It will all fall on their shoulder. So yeah, that's one big challenge.
Direct responsibility. Achievements or scandals, it's you. Sounds fancy to own a successful, high profile company until problems arise. Victories, defeat, and everything in between, it's all you. If you get sued, it's you. If a scandal goes out about the company, it's all on you, even if you have nothing to do with it. Ellen DeGeneres soiled her otherwise flawless reputation when employees disclosed that some of Ellen's managers were mistreating them. Ellen actually had nothing to do with it directly, at least, because she didn't mistreat or bully anyone. But because she is the head of the entire operation, it is still her responsibility. It's her fault just as much as it is someone else's. And the chances of a scandal doubles when the owner of a company is a celebrity, because there are people out there who just want the world to burn. Haters are more than willing to make up stories or dig up the deepest of the earth just to put a celebrity in a bad light. They not only have to do their job well, they also have to constantly watch their own behinds. Cash flow. For them to be able to pay all of this, they need a regular cash flow. As I've mentioned earlier, they need millions and millions of streams just to maintain the current resources they have, never mind growth. Of course, streams are not the only sources of income. There are concerts, endorsements, shows, merchandise. They need to keep on working. They need to keep on producing something new to keep the company going. And remember that whatever they earn gets taxed. They never get anything gross unless they don't declare it. I say they probably are declaring everything because they are too high profile. Constant. That's the key. They need to constantly sell because they have constant bills to pay. North America office. The most effective way to start, grow, and maintain a career in the West is to set up an office in the West. Doing business here is way different. Setting up an office here is like going back to the basics, relearning new things, and from there, operate several offices under different regulations, located in different countries, covering different industries.
Growing the business, that's probably the biggest challenge that they are going to make, because as I've said, it's not about them anymore. It's not just about them anymore. It's also about the employees that are relying on them, the families that are relying on those employees that are relying on them. So they will have to make compromises along the way. If they're just thinking about themselves, if they are just talents, then they can just say no, they don't want to do something, but not anymore. Once they sacrifice an opportunity, that means they are sacrificing opportunities for their employees. And in the process of growing, they're going to realize that regulations, culture, red tape in another country is actually different from the one that they're used to in the Philippines. And so they're going to make compromises over and over again. But it is inevitable. They are going to have to they're going to have to bite the bullet and file a loan or get an investor if they want to expand things that you don't have to think about as an artist. If you're just an artist and there's a management company behind you, all you're thinking about is art. And that in itself is already overwhelming so many times. Now, it's not just that. They need to talk about running the business, making decisions. They need to think about how do they grow this? How do they progress? If someday they really want to be able to sign artists under them and help them as well, they need to think about how they're going to finance that, how they're going to, all of these things. It's it's sometimes, especially at their stage, I'm pretty sure that at this stage, at this point in their careers, they probably are already better off. And if probably they just decide to live a simple life, they can already afford to do so. And the temptation of just stepping back and just enjoying the fruit of your labor is so strong, especially if you're faced with so many difficulties involved, connected to growing your business. You're constantly asking yourself, why am I doing this? Like, why? I can just rest. I can just sleep all day. Why am I doing this? But progress is worth it, but it's never easy. So I commend them. I really commend them for taking on this challenge, and I don't know how they are surviving. They managed to create such beautiful art, such beautiful music, and also run a company. And they remain level-headed. They remain happy. At least it seems to me. They are a different level, different kind of an artist and a different kind of a person for all of them to be doing this. Okay, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, if you have inputs, suggestions, violent reactions, leave them in the comment section below. Remember, you can say anything that you want, just say it respectfully. You can also get in touch with me in any of the social media links that you see on your screen right now. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you.